I don't know what I was expecting from my trip to Palestine, but I certainly did not expect to walk away with racial tensions between myself and the Black people in our group. And that's really disappointing for me to admit, because I was so excited to go on this trip with Black Americans, because I was always under the impression that Black people will be our greatest allies because they understand more than anybody what it's like to live under occupation, what it's like to be oppressed and racially profiled. But during the trip, it felt like some people were too busy playing oppression Olympics to fully grasp the experiences of Palestinians living in Palestine. Some people came on the trip with a very limited understanding of the Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause, which is problematic in and of itself. But the most problematic thing was the fact that some people were applying a Western lens of racial dynamics to a place where it does not apply. I am not going to sit here and deny that anti-Blackness exists in every single part of the world. But the issue of race is much different in Palestine than in most other places in the world.
Black liberals get on here, they're like, Palestinians are anti-Black and therefore...
Just say the slur you want to say. Say the thing you want to say and keep it pushing, because this is an unacceptable video.
Palestine is racist towards Black people.
Black liberals get on here, they're like, Palestinians are anti-Black and therefore...
Not to like make jokes or anything, but you got Black people's name in your mouth. When the sky is raining fire, your priorities aren't straight.
And I'm a selfish, and I can only think about myself. And why didn't they vote for Kamal in the election?
During the trip, it felt like some people were too busy playing oppression Olympics to fully grasp the experiences of Palestinians living in Palestine.
Literally could not see past your own issues, your own fucking comfort, or whatever. I don't care how oppressed you are in this country. I'm sure people are going to come over and say, yes, me, I'm saying this. I don't care how oppressed you are in this country. Nothing justifies genocide or arguing to not only support an administration that is doing a genocide, but give up a leverage that costs you nothing. It costs you nothing.
Are all the same message, and they have been the same message the entire time.
I don't know what I was expecting from my trip to Palestine.
Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. All my returning subscribers, you guys, you are my MVPs, and I honestly don't take none of you for granted. Today's video, I came across two videos from this guy over here and this lady here. So this lady, it seems that she formed up a story of most people who are reacting on her video. They think she formed up a story and she is lying. She is literally talking about her traveling to Palestine and maybe Black people did something to her. Indirectly, she is seeking for Black people's help. How are Black people even concerned about Palestine businesses? Why are you putting us into your businesses? So guys, I want us to watch these videos keenly and let me know what you think about them, or even if you've come across them already, what do you think?
I don't know what I was expecting from my trip to Palestine, but I certainly did not expect to walk away with racial tensions between myself and the Black people in our group.
So let me get this straight. Old girl got in her feelings because Black people who were in Palestine helping out non-Black Palestinian people told her about their experiences of anti-Blackness, and she decided to hop on the internet and crap on them for it, and then try to do the oppression Olympics. And then you wonder why the pro-Pali movement in the States is dying.
But I certainly did not expect to walk away with racial tensions between myself and the Black people in our group.
Heba, quick question. Where exactly were you in Palestine when this happened? Because I know how hard it is to get aid in and out of the country right now. Heba's whole story doesn't make sense to me, and it's just another example of racist bias within the Palestinian community. I'm gonna need you guys to stop bringing up our civil rights leaders in order to strong-arm us into activism. Did you guys know that one of the last things that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X talked about in their speeches before they were murdered by our government was the importance of Black solidarity? Heba either didn't know this or she cherry-picked what she wanted to take out of Malcolm X's mouth. It's very important for oppressed slash groups to have solidarity with each other, but only when there's mutual respect. All you did with your video, Heba, was confirm the racial biases within Palestine. Accounts like Heba's and many others have done nothing but erode the solidarity that we've had since the 60s. You guys have done nothing for the past year except for gaslight black people about how they choose to participate in this oppressive system. If you guys truly want solidarity amongst our communities again, then you need to check the anti-blackness within your own community. Stop policing black people and the way they choose to react toward racism, because if you work on just those two things, I'm pretty sure that the problems between our communities will evaporate.
I don't know what I was expecting from my trip to Palestine, but I certainly did not.
I don't believe a single word coming out of this woman's mouth. Not a single word. Unless we can hear from the black people involved, I do not care. Where are the black people involved? Where are these black people that you're talking about? Where are they? It's been days. Where are the black people involved? Listen, I'm not sure if I missed anything about this story because I haven't seen a single black person involved in that situation come forward and talk about it. So I'm trying to understand, why exactly did you feel the need to put this story out? Why? Let me just remind everybody that nobody knew about this story. She's the first person to come forward and talk about it. Not a single black person involved in that situation came out to talk about this. Why exactly did this woman feel the need to put this story out? Why? It's not like she got called out and she's out here defending herself. No, something ain't right. This whole thing is fishy. I have a strong feeling that this story is way worse than she is telling it. Listening to her version of the story, I can only say this. Either the story is way worse than she's telling it, or this whole thing is made up.
Why is it that a black person can't vocalize the racism or anti-blackness they've experienced at the hands of Arabs or Arab Americans without the onus being put back on the black person to fix it? There's always a Heba out there screaming, "It's not the oppression of Olympics, stop putting Western standards on non-Western people." This is basically exactly what happened with Maya and Tory. Someone told Tory, get that Palestinian flag out of your bio if you intend on voting for Kamala Harris. And Tory said, bet. Flag gone. What did Maya do? She take the time to talk to her own community about how the rhetoric that was launched at Tory did nothing but harm the Palestinian movement? No. She got on the internet and said, well, if that was enough to take the flag out of her bio, she never really supported Palestine anyways. Okay. You expect black people to accept disrespect. Look inward, all right? Deal with the poison within before you request solidarity from anyone. When that poison seeps out inevitably and we get a whiff of that nasty shit, don't expect us to put gas masks on and stick around for the party. Get the fuck out of here.
This is why some people are so dangerous to the movement, not only to the pro-Palestinian movement, but also to black activism. Because if I was somebody else, if I haven't already done so much work for the black community, if I didn't already have a deep understanding of racial dynamics, this entire experience might have pushed me away from the black community. But I know that these rotten tomatoes in the community do not represent the black.
I don't speak for us all, but I do speak for the rotten tomatoes when I say you can go. Consider yourself pushed, shoved. You are lucky that you were able to cobble together a group of black people to go on that trip in the first place. After you nonsense, never Kamala, vote for Kamala as a vote for genocide people shows your asses last November. Okay? Also, I don't believe you. I don't believe the beggars asking for money incident is the only instance of racism that they experience. I believe it's the most innocuous one that you strategically picked to minimize their concerns.
One of the biggest lessons that I learned from the people in Palestine is to find beauty and positivity in every situation. And one of the people who taught me that was Abu Muhammad.
So in that beginning video I just stitched, this creator right here tells a story about how she took several black volunteers over to Palestine to help give out food and such, and that they came to her complaining about racism. He goes on to talk about how her black volunteers were complaining about people in Palestine being racist to them, and she basically told them to pretty much just get over it. So not only in her own story did she tell black people to cope and get over the racism they were experiencing, but I don't even think her story was true. First thing that tipped me off was she has posted hundreds of videos throughout social media, and none of them have been from Palestine. And number two, Palestine has been an active war zone for quite some time now. She wouldn't have been able to fly there, much less get those volunteers past Israeli checkpoints to go over there and help with that stuff. So not only did she expose herself as a blatant racist in her story, but I think she's lying about the whole thing.
I'm so tired of the fucking discourse, bro.
I don't know. Something about his video feels very, like, as black people, I believe we should be able to talk about the anti-blackness in any community, as well as advocating for other marginalized groups. Like, they're not mutually exclusive. Like, you can address the anti-blackness that exists within Palestine and across the world in any marginalized group, and you can say, I support and advocate for the freedom of Palestinian people. Like, those two are not opposite points of each other. It just feels like you're trying to pin them against each other. For what reason? Like, me personally, as a black person who talks to other black people in real life, I have not personally seen any black people post or pre-election say, oh, well, Palestinian people are anti-black, so they deserve to be genocided. Like, I've never heard that. And even if you've heard black people that are like that, it's disingenuous to come up here and act like that's the entire conversation around the discourse, where it's just black leftists don't like Palestinian people. That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, like, it just feels like we are allies. We're together. But addressing anti-blackness has to happen in order for all of us to prosper together. That just is the reality of the conversation.
Black liberals get on here, they're like, Palestinians are anti-black and therefore...
Just say the slur you want to say the thing you want to say, and keep it pushing, because this is an unacceptable video. First of all, it is a misrepresentation of the discourse about anti-blackness that's been going on this app, and I know because I have been talking about it for months. Second of all, non-black leftists talking about how black people are talking about Palestine, y'all are way too comfortable, and you need to take several steps back. I don't know who you think you're talking to, but I hope it's not us. I hope it's not us. Furthermore, when we're talking about anti-blackness, we're talking about how it also affects Afro-Palestinians who are what? Oh, Palestinian. How they face multiple marginalizations because of being under occupation and also being black. Lastly, racism is not a distraction. It is literally the vector through which capitalism keeps its foot on all of our necks, through which imperialism keeps its foot on all of our necks, through which all these systems that you seem to care about and you claim to care about as a leftist, because you do, keeps its foot on our necks. It is a vector through which all that is transmitted. So to say that it's a distraction, y'all are so disingenuous, you're so racist, and you do not operate in good faith. You are more committed to making these anti-black takes than you are committed to building a coalition by continuing to antagonize people who want to build coalitions with you but have a few problems with how things are being handled. Y'all will literally pull out the red carpet for Trump supporters in order to get them on our side and be like, hey guys, if you talk to them nicely, you have to hold their hands, you have to be nice to these Trump supporters, but you talk recklessly to black people. We see you. Got it. Very much got it. Thank you.
Palestine is racist towards black people. Let's talk about it. So after the video I put up on Friday, I got a bunch of comments that suggested that we as black people should stay out of the conflict because Palestinians are also racist, and in fact they have a city called Al Abid, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, which means slave, and it's meant for black people to stay in slum-like conditions there. So obviously I did my own research so that I could reach my own conclusions. I also found this really cool story about this Afro-Palestinian journalist here, Nasreen Salem, and she went through detail in terms of the persecution she's experienced both from Palestinian people and the IDF. Additionally, we should know that Palestine participated in the Arab slave trade and slavery was only abolished in the country in the early 20th century. However, despite all of this information, I am still very much pro-Palestine, even more so than ever before, and let me tell you why. If you care about Afro-Palestinians, black people living in Palestine, then you'd understand that they are going through a genocide by way of the Israeli government, and they are also experiencing discrimination from their Palestinian peers as well as Israelis as well. But in order for us to fight for their freedom from said discrimination, they need to be alive to see us fight for them. They need to survive the genocide. So if you care about black people all over the world and you care about Afro-Palestinians, then there is absolutely no excuse for you not to be pro-Palestine in this conflict. If you are just using this as a reason to say that you should stay out or that black people shouldn't get involved, then simply put, you don't care about other people who look like you, who are not in your immediate vicinity. So no, I don't think that's a good enough reason or even a reason at all to not be pro-Palestine.
Palestinians being racist to the black aid workers that went to help them is really not that surprising. We had this discussion last year when people talk about the racism that Afro-Palestinians face, and everyone tried to gaslight us into accepting racism because of the war going on. Bearing in mind those Afro-Palestinians were experiencing the same war and then also dealing with racism from their neighbours. If you're not willing to have an open and honest conversation about these things, then you don't want allies, you're looking for servants. I expect endless compassion and endless allyship from black people and literally never ever return the favour. Historically, it's never returned to the same degree that it's given. And the reason you guys say that, oh, it's distracting and it's divisive to talk about the racism is because you think that we should actually just put up with it. You don't see it as a problem that needs to be resolved. You think that everyone else's problems should be resolved and then we'll get to racism. Anti-blackness in the Arab world literally goes back centuries. The original slave trade that began in Africa was started by Arabs and it continues to this day. And we see it all the time. And you can literally see it with the degree and number of black people talking about free Palestine versus the reverse for free Congo or free Sudan.
Let me know what you think about it, just in case you've watched it up to this far. And we shall meet again in another episode that I'll be uploading later on or even tomorrow. I love you. Stay blessed.